Okay.
You don't want to sing musical until it starts. Okay, can you hear me in the back? Okay, I will try and talk this loud the entire time. Yeah, that's already kind of going. And this is my first standing room only, so I take this as a good sign. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cover a lot of stuff right at the beginning, but I'm trying to leave time for questions. So if I cover something and you don't quite get it, I'm also going to put this all up on the 20Books group. It is being taken, the live cast, 2 places, Martha Carr's Facebook page and the 20Book group Facebook page. You can hear me in the back, right? Oh,
there's still a lot of people talking, so that'll help
if everybody could stop talking, because I can't go much louder without shrieking, and that's a bad impression. Okay, we're going to start briefly with rapid release. I know a lot of you have watched that video, but some may not have, and I just want to quickly go over the numbers and start with that, and then we're going to get into the good stuff. And it'll make more sense, too, if I cover rapid release first, because then you'll know why I'm saying it. Okay, so rapid release is when you save up your books. You have at least 3. We're doing that because the whale, 2 reasons. The whale readers, the people who like to read a lot, are going to wait until they see that you have at least 3 books before they're going to step in. So also, if your sales are kind of lackluster at first, you got to hang in there till book 3 to really get a sense. So the rapid release, book 1. Then on the 8th day, book 2. On the 15th day, book 3. And then on the 28th day, book 4. And on the 49th day, book 5. We also do that because that way you get the most number of books under the category new release on Amazon. And if everybody could not talk at all, I know it doesn't sound like much, but
how many days to the 4th day?
It's 1, 8, 15, 28, 49.
No pre-orders?
I personally, no, we don't do pre-orders on this because it'll cut down on your ranking on your day where you actually put it out. And I'm going to cover what you can do to bolster this to make it even more effective. So you got the numbers basically on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to target 2 or 3 very similar authors and target them right at the start. You're not looking for the most famous. You're looking for the ones whose covers and whose blurbs and whose stories match yours, who also do have decent sales. You really aren't looking for the invisible one. I need to point that out. And so that's knowing your target audience. And you want to look in your subgenre, not everyone in your subgenre. I'm looking toward my assistant, wherever she is. Yeah, that's the brains of the operation. Okay, so so here's where you can tank your launch without realizing you're doing it. If you don't bother to go and look at the also bots of those 3 authors you're targeting, you could accidentally target somebody who's in more than one genre, and say you're doing urban fantasy, and you're wondering why you have thrillers in your also bots. So now Amazon thinks that people who like thriller will like your book, and that's who they send it to. And you can't figure out why you did a $2,000 ad campaign and no one's really showing up. So you have to take the time to go and look and see if their also bots are clean. And if they don't have also bots on that page, because they don't always do, go to their author page on Amazon and check it out. That's the best thing. We know people who did a fantastic launch and they kind of tanked, and we did some research and realized they were targeting people in more than one genre. Like Andrew. I said that quick.
So don't use them if they're...
Correct. And now you can do negative words for ads on AMS. So yeah, you want to push those people out of the street. Because so the whole point of a rapid release is to get Amazon to work with you for free. And so one of the key things are those also bots, so that their multiple algorithms pick up on the fact that everybody who likes this will like you. So if the blurb is the same, the cover is the same, or similar, and the story is the same, you really are targeting your people. And so now you've given yourself a leg up. But you gotta go and look, especially on the bigger names. Just be careful. And I'll tell you, I started out by pulling everybody in the top 100. It did not go well. If everybody listens to Hugh Campbell's podcast. The next thing you want to do is you want to do an automation sequence on your newsletter. Does everybody know what that is? An automation, so like MailChimp, for example, lets you set up automatic emails, and you can set up how fast they come out. I have a 12 sequence. It comes out once a week. So the minute you sign up, it starts you in that feed, and then you want to give away things. Now, what I give away, the troll, and lots of you may know, there's a troll in the books I read, a swearing troll, that everybody loves. That's the host of the sequence. And I give away things like the top 10 places the troll would get a donut. So, I mean, it's not actually literally things all the time. I do computer, there's a raffle at the end, a teaser. You must be present to win. I do wallpaper for the computer that has the troll on it. I do short stories. So that's 12 weeks where they're getting something for their time. So but if you had a 4 or 5 sequence, that's plenty. I just got excited. And was on a roll. Okay, so the next thing is the back matter of the book. So does everybody know what author notes is? Okay, I see who knows. So author notes are very chatty, and she knows who she is. Author notes are very chatty. They're about 750 words, where you talk about whatever's going on in your life. It's not, Michelangelo's tend to be very funny. Mine, sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're more heartwarming, sometimes I pull from childhood. It's whatever I'm up to. We put the date at the top of when they were written, and I will tell you, often the Amazon reviews are about my author notes, not the book. And you can also then reuse those as blog posts, and your blog can be linked to your Amazon author page. So does that make sense? So these are all things you can do on a budget right away that will get you, so you're trying to do, when you write a book, you want those characters to be people that everyone will miss, so they come to book 2. You're trying to do the same thing for you, so that when they see your name, they associate it with a good feeling, they know you. And you don't want to be an unknown quantity. In traditional land where I came from, the author bio was third person, kind of formal, and it was more like a resume. That is not it at all. This is some goofy. I told a story about when I got a purple Schwinn at Christmas. It was lovely. Michael said I blocked him. Whatever. And then also you want, in the back matter, you want to put foreign links for Amazon. A lot of people make the mistake of only putting a link to US. You have a lot of readers in Australia, in the UK, in New Zealand, and we get feedback. I'm going to take questions at the end. I even have a guy who's going to wave at me to make sure I don't blah, blah. And you have made it so much easier for them, and you're one of the few doing it. So you look better, like you're really listening. So you want to make sure that you have buttons that link to all the Amazon sites. And ask me later how to do it, and then I'll ask Felicia, and then I'll tell you. Okay, so the next thing is really critical. I don't hear anybody saying it, but I've also actually done this with people, and I've seen what it does. You know you need a financial budget. You also need a time one. And the way you do a time, if you are a person who is generally kind of late, never quite sure if you got enough words to get the book to the date, always kind of vaguely worried about how you're going to get through the day, I want you to buy a small notebook at the dime store, and then you're going to write down everything you do for 2 weeks, but it has to include travel time as well, so that the entire day is accounted for. And what happens is people look at and they see where their blocks of time are, and I'm telling you, it's a light bulb. And they start to see where they're wasting time. It could be that you spent 20 minutes on a phone call with a friend, which is great because you got to do that stuff too, but you start to see that it added up to far more than you thought, and it's eating away at your serenity. And then you're going to take, if you're doing a 60,000 word book and you would like it due on X day, and you know you can do about 3,000 words a day, you're going to actually do the math and figure out, I need to do this amount every day, and now you've got the block of time, because you can see it where you were using it not to your best advantage. And you're going to slide that into there. And it's going to lower your stress. And launch day has enough stress all on its own. So you want it, and then you want a financial budget. My two favorite sites are youneedabudget.com. And there's an endorsement. That's the one I use. There is a fee, it's low. They have 15-minute live classes on pretty much everything. They're very responsive. And then you can actually put the costs of your business in that budget. You can also put in future costs so that you can build to that bigger ad budget. And I don't know why, but I end up with a lot more money somehow when I budget, and I don't when I don't. And it's the same thing as the time thing. You don't see the money going. You're not really mentally catching on. You plot it out, and it gets a lot easier. And then one of the rules of you need a budget is every dollar has a job, and that means that's fine. You spend your money however you want. You're grown-ups. But if you have like $100 and you give it the job of this will be play money, but it has a job. You're going to do the same thing with your time. Especially, believe it or not, I still have a day job. I haven't been courageous enough to leave yet. I know, it's stupid. I make far more books than I do at the day job. Whatever. And if anyone's listening from the day job, I love it. Because I just remembered it's being live streamed. So my time is precious. And so in order to do this successfully, I have to know where I'm supposed to be and what needs to be done. And then I roll through it and my stress stays low and everybody gets what they need. So, that's not, as sexy as saying publish a book 1-7, etc. But it will save your butt, and you will get books done and look up and think, how did I do that?
Can I just ask about the budget? What is realistically something you would recommend minimum?
Yeah, he's going to come in and wave any minute. Boy, I can talk. The next thing too is you are going to hit a place where you question why the hell you're doing it. And you're really going to talk yourself into believing that you were under a delusion all this time and you finally woke up to reality. You're going to need 4 people who you can call who will not join you in whatever you've got going on in your head. Because you have the friends who will agree with you and say, yeah, you're screwed. Don't call them. You're going to need to call the people who immediately look for the solution. So here's what you're doing. You are now hunting for a problem. For whatever reason, you've decided that you aren't up to this task. So now you are actively searching for a problem. And I can create a problem. If I have to, I'm going to find one. And it wasn't a problem 5 minutes ago, but boy, it seems like one now. And so I need somebody who's going to then tell me, if they're not even going to pay attention to that bullshit that I just came up with, and they're going to go right back to reality. And that will pull me back to the data. So on launch day, you're going to start to finally get data, which is the gift from the gods that you need. And as long as you cannot make this personal, why did I fail? Why did I not do that? And that will slow you down and freeze you. You're going to say, the data's telling me that I'm not selling to. What do I need to do in order to get here? And you're going to be open to the idea that you did not get it right. That your audience isn't actually men who are over 35, that it's women. And you're going to celebrate that you know it and just shift. But you're going to need people who immediately do that. So if you've been gathering names here, if you want the person who is willing, in general, when they hear an idea, they're going to try it, and who is actively talking about solutions, not about why they're going to fail. Because you don't know that you're going to, the only way you can fail, frankly, is if you stop. I think everybody heard how I answered, what's your favorite book? William Sacks and Sophie's Choice. And I mean, I could have been called technically a failure financially for 28 years. And what made the difference, what changed that was in the last 2 years, I stopped arguing with those who were trying to help me. So I stopped hunting for a problem, and I just started doing it their way. I don't know why, but for some reason it just occurred to me finally that I had nothing to lose by just trying it their way, let it fail. And then it didn't. All right, I'm going to get to questions shortly. And then the other thing you want to do is snippets. Does everybody know what snippets are?
Yes.
Okay. Snippet is, so you're going to start from word 1 of the book. You do not jump around.
Right.
You're going to do about 1,500 to 3,000 words. Do not worry about giving away that much. It's great. And you're going to post it as many places as you can. You're going to announce it in bold letters. A snippet is coming. And you want to start at least 2 weeks before the release of the first book. And so you are getting them primed and priming the pump for the book that's coming out. Because you don't have a track record yet. Or maybe you do, but you don't have the track record you want. And so you're going to start telling them why they want the book. You know the inside the book on Amazon? You're basically doing that for yourself by doing a snippet. And it creates a lot of buzz.
How much at a time?
1,500 to 3,000 words is generally what I do. But I've also known Michael's been known to say, put a chapter up there. So I do. And
Sorry, they go in order?
they have to go in order because whoever's reading them is reading them in order as if they're reading the book. And they will go back, people go back and reread the last book before they read the new one. So they're willing to read the snippets and then start over. And then people who don't want the spoiler will even comment, I don't like spoilers, but I'm waiting for the book. I mean, it's all buzz. And then you take that post and boost it. So now you've created an ad for yourself that has a lot of comments with a tidbit of your book. Book 1 goes up, snippets start for book 2. All right, so you got a rolling train going. It's a weird kind of pre-order, sort of.
Where are you posting this? Is it Facebook?
On your Facebook page, on your author page, and in your group.
Okay, so you're doing 1,500 words on your Facebook page?
It's a link. On Facebook, so if you can't do links, you don't have a website, there's something called notes on a post. You do it in the notes, and then the notes condenses it for you, and when they click on it, it'll open it wide, and you need a picture at the top. And you can use your cover over and over, and I'm going to start questions any second because we're bursting at the seams. But you can also, you can do a Craig Martelle trick and just use baby animals. Whatever gets him to look. Whenever he's got bad news, it's a baby animal. So we're going to start to dread baby animals. Okay, we can, everybody bursting with questions? Okay, we'll just go ahead. Go ahead.
Could the snippet thing get you in trouble if you're in KU? Because then you have things out.
So could a snippet get you in trouble with KU? You can post up to 10% of your book. You're never going to be posting 10% of your book. Okay. So you will not get in trouble. Don't post half the book.
You were saying make sure your links are geographic. Does the books to read service automatically make them geographic links for you?
Does the what?
The books to read, like the draft visual linking service. Does
Hey,
that?
Felicia.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
I don't do that for Martha. I make pretty little buttons. People love to.
She makes big giant buttons that have Amazon UK, Amazon US. Yes?
You said at the beginning you target 2 to 3 similar authors at the start of your also books rolling. Do you do that through AMS? And if so, how do you get your keywords up? So if you're only targeting a few authors, presumably you've only got a few keywords for that.
Yes, you do go through Amazon to figure out who the 2 or 3, because that's who we're talking about. Yes, I can see you thinking.
No,
Keywords.
I was looking around Alex.
And yes, that's going to help you with your keywords as well. Yes.
But are you only going to have, usually if you only have a few keywords, then it's hard to get the ads rolling, in my experience.
Spend more.
In AMS, you can target the author, you can target their series name, and you can target, I think you can target book code.
And you should be targeting Kindle Unlimited if that's not
Also,
free, or Kindles.
To that specific thing, if you're targeting somebody that's really, really popular, then you're probably targeting the wrong, or you might be targeting the wrong, not necessarily probably, but you might be targeting the wrong one because they're so expensive to target to.
And
so
they
try to
probably-
find somebody a little more niche that's very similar.
Right. If you're looking for the sweet spot of somebody who's doing well and they aren't a superstar, that is your sweet spot. I'm going to get the gentleman behind me because he's been patiently waiting.
Thank you. On the targeting authors, the KU piece, if you are going to be in KU, should you target authors that are also in KU?
No, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You want somebody who wants to read a book. But do put Kindle on the keywords. I mean, because sometimes people forget. In series, put series, if you are series. There's a guy, yeah?
You mentioned you had 2 links for us when you were talking about the budget, but you only gave us 1.
Oh, yeah, I did. I got so excited. Sorry. The other one is Mint, and Mint is free. And that's for if you're doing a financial budget. And so there was a shout out for Mint back there. And so if if really money is a constraint, Mint is free. And I highly recommend, and then get that little notebook. I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you could see the come to Jesus moment people get when they look at that 2 weeks worth of data and see that they have hours of time that they did not, you spend it like you spend money. How you treat money is how you will treat food, is how you will treat sex, is how you will treat time. And also, the advantage to that is once you clean up one, the others start to kind of roll through and the drama in your life goes down and the success goes up. And someone in the back? Yes, sir?
What's your pricing strategy at large?
So we believe that we do not need to undersell, and also we look at the math of how many books you have to sell at 99 cents versus $3.99 or $4.99. And really $4.99 is becoming the new price. $3.99 is a little low. And we find too that people who buy things at 99 cents tend to put it in their to read list, which kills your buy through. So we do 1 day of fan pricing, and we advertise the hell out of it on Facebook that it's coming. So those who really are looking for the bargain, they get it 24 hours. But we do it the Saturday after a book comes out, so that those who don't want to wait just go ahead and buy it, and it works out as a pre-order, sort of. So I would suggest $4.99 for like a 60,000 to 75,000 word book. And if you want, you pick a day and you do fan. Anytime you can find a way to talk to your fans about something is a good thing, because you're trying to establish a personal relationship. So you look for ways to do it. We do giveaways. We do a lot of mugs. We give away mugs for no reason. You know, you can stop me, and if you're really nice, I probably will send you a mug. It'll have a troll on it. If swearing bothers you, don't talk, don't do it. Yes, Randy?
So say you're already on 1, 5, 6, or 7 in the series, do you do anything for the earlier book to try to kind of get that?
Absolutely. So if your read-through kind of sucks, and you're in the later books, go look at the reviews first of all and see if those give you a clue. And I do go back and fix books. And I do get comments that, that the reviews pick up, the sales pick up, because there are people who are making a lot of money who haven't put out a book, because they are repackaging those books in different ways of sales and promotions. And it's also because they have worked on the previous books till the read-through picks up to 65 to 85% from 1 to 2, and then closer to 90 on all the others. And you had a question.
I did. I'm having a hard time figuring out who my comparables are for my genre, because my genre is a little bit.
So what's your genre?
So I do a contemporary, like sweet and wholesome contemporary, but like mine are like diversity centric. So it's weird.
So you have to spend. So she has a genre that's a little odd. It's a little niche where it's contemporary, sweet, and it's diversity. So that's going to require you to do, as if you were the reader, you're going to search Amazon, putting in keywords till it starts to pull up covers that you identify with. It takes more time because you're not, but also if you start hitting them, you've got a better shot, because the people looking for those books don't have as much to go to. And by the way, you don't need a large percentage of buyers to become a bestseller. It's actually remarkably small. I think 2,000. You're really going to be smoking. So does that make sense what I'm saying?
Because there is no like disability category. There's no.
So you right, but so somebody out there who has that book has put that in their keywords. So if you go on Amazon as a like you were a reader and you put sweet, cozy, disability, and then you try to think of the different ways to say disability, you might put in handicap or wheelchair, whatever you think might get you to that spot.
Right.
They will pop up at you, and then you start, and then look at the categories they're in as well, and then you will start to build that way as well. On the floor.
Yeah, we were talking about targeting 2 or 3 authors with Facebook. Like, you can't really find a lot of indies, but targeting. We were talking about AMS.
Facebook too.
And Facebook too, said Felicia.
Then you can find smaller indies on Facebook in the targeting.
Can you find?
When you want to find comparable trade pub and you want to find comparable indie and you do different things with them.
Speak up. I've already bought all our hours, so get over it.
Not open for business. Yeah, you want it, when you do your comparable authors, what you want them to look for is very, very, very similar. If you can find one author that's basically you can convert almost 1 to 2 with, then you can expand from that. Indies are best for us because trade pub readers sometimes are a little snitty.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah. Does that help you at all? Okay, get all the way in the back.
Is it worth it having a Facebook page for your novel and for your author, or should you just have an author page?
I just have an author page because we are working up to, I'm actually hiring someone to help me post because it takes time, and I somehow ended up with 5 pages. 2 groups, 3 pages. So you want a Facebook page and a group. And the group is private, people have to be let in, and that is where you really need to post 2 or 3 times a day. It needs to be personal, you are answering others, and you do the giveaways in there. And that's because the fans can post in your group, but they can't on your author page. And so the conversations will be, you're trying to create rabid fans who really cannot wait to talk to you, who are really interested in you, and you tell them, like, I just bought my dream house, which I did. And I was an apartment dweller forever.
Well, the other thing too is the rabid fans will respond as troll reviewers, so you don't have to.
Well, that's actually a good point to make. So occasionally, someone in your group likes you, doesn't particularly like something you did, comments. You got to be careful and make sure you step in because the rabid fans will kind of pile on, and that person has a legit point. So you kind of have to step in gently and say, it's all cool. Because that does happen. So you do not take your eyes off that group. But so and also I join authors that are doing super well. I join their fan groups, stalk them. I won't mention any names. And so that I can see what they're up to and kind of. I do a lot of stickers for like the troll or covers and autograph them and mail them out. I get their address for like Christmas cards, and they then started organically putting the stickers on, like a lampshade was one. And they send those photos in. It's another point of interaction between me and the fans. Lady in the very back.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to clarify. So you don't advocate the first book being free or the first book being 99 cents. I just want to clarify where you
mean
are.
Waking Magic right at the moment is 99 cents for the Lyric Chronicles, but we may not keep doing that. You have to do the math. If you sold, for example, if you sold 100 books at 99 cents and you only sold 50 at $4.99, you're probably making a lot more at the 50. So for me, the bottom line, I don't want to get lost in more people like me because it's not actually why I'm doing it. I do want a great book that people want to read over and over. I do want interaction, but what's my primary purpose? Because whatever that is will rule.
Money.
Right. And if that is your primary, that will rule. If your primary is to be liked, you will be. By the way, that was mine for years. Got a lot of great critical praise. Didn't make enough to pay the bills. Yes, sir.
But the one-day fan pricing could be 99 cents?
Yeah, we do it, yes. We do it, and it shoots the ranking way up, and then our goal is to make it stick. So it gives us a...
99 and then flip it to $4.99.
Yes, and they know it's only 24 hours. They tell all their friends. They come at once, and it makes the ranking go through the roof, hopefully. And then the goal is to make it stick.
I might want to mention the fact that you call it fan pricing. You don't pay 99 cents.
Yeah,
That will train your readers tonight. Like, don't realize it.
So if you can't hear her, she's saying don't call it 99 cents, call it fan pricing. Yeah. Okay. Yes?
So, on the timing of release,
Yeah.
if, obviously, for most people, doing that sort of rapid release, you're going to outpace your production schedule.
No, you do. So you do the books ahead of time and you hold on to them
So you
for a
want,
rapid release.
right. So is it more critical to be reliable? Say if you do like the first 3 in that 1 month, and then you're doing a 1 a month, or should you just keep on pumping?
That's a great question. So you wanted to know, is it more important to be reliable, or do you have to keep up that heated pace till you drop dead? So I also have friends who are doing quite well. They're making about $30,000 a month, and they put out a book every 2 months. And the key is they are consistent. They figured out what works for them. They make sure their fan group knows. They stay in touch that entire time with their group. They do a lot of live streaming on that group, and the reader knows to check back in 2 months, and that book is there. And that again comes down to be honest with yourself. If this is too fast for you, don't do it, because you can do this successfully, and do you. And that's the key, is do you. You will last longer, you won't burn out, you will actually see this as a joy it was when nobody knew who you were, and the readers will stick with you. Yes, ma'am?
So how long are you going in between series? Are you going several months so that you're saving up those books? Or are you able to get faster?
No, I mean, you're asking me, so, I mean, you don't necessarily need to follow me, but I'm usually working on more than one thing at a time, knowing that something is coming. But my schedule is really tight, and I limit the amount I go out, but I would anyway. I'm 59. I mean, it makes it sound like I'd be swinging on the town if I wasn't doing that. True. By the way, I promised Stephen Campbell that I would tell you that we have a bet going. So the bet is, because he has a book that's been not published for quite a while, Stephen Campbell. And I have been saying I'm going to find someone to date for the same amount of time. So the bet is there's no, if we both do it, we both win, so that's it. But 4 dates, legit dates, and he has to have a legit book, blurb, and cover. So we were just outing ourselves to the world. So I did my part and did that. Now an actual question.
In AMS and Facebook ads, do you buy advertising and other newsletters?
We do, thank you. We do BookBub as well. And we're venturing into Pinterest, which is not the same, the setup, so you do have to go investigate. You do need a website. It does take a little while. But we're always looking for who the next one is, because you know that, 10, okay. Because you know that whatever great thing you're doing now, next year probably won't be. I mean, at some point, Facebook, it's just inevitable. So we're always keeping an eye out for what the trend is. We're trying to get there ahead of all of you. Yes, ma'am, in the one behind you, but then you.
If you if you haven't had published a book yet, or if you're publishing under a brand new pen name,
right?
Do you start the fan group then, or do you wait until you have the book?
No, you start it now, and you invite your friends to get it going, and you put on your author page for the new pen name. You start the snippets there, you start talking about your life there, and then you say, hey, I've got this fan group and there are giveaways in there, and you find something to give away. Like I have a new series starting in January called the Pea Brain Adventures, and we've already got 2 Pea Brain costumes that will be given away, and some other Pea Brain stuff. So we're already trying to think of how we're going to attract you to come and check it out, but it'll only be in the fan group. So if you're not in there, you can't dress around like a pea pod. I'm sure everybody wants. Yes?
So at launch, you're not using the promotion letters like ENT, Robin, Reed?
So we usually wait till book 3, because on a rapid release that's coming pretty fast behind you, and also because it signals everybody that there are at least 3 books.
What was the question?
So, I'm sorry. Do you do the stacked ads like Robin reads on book 1? And again, these are the way we do it. I know people who do it successfully in book 1, so you take what you like of any of this, you leave the rest. But we wait till, rapid release, I think you're talking what? day 15.
2 weeks.
Yeah, and you got to set them up way in advance to get on those schedules. And the paid newsletters, there are some good ones. You're going to spend some money, by the way, if you're brand new on newsletters and it won't pan out. To ask around in 20Books, you know, look on that pinch thing they have. There's probably something in there to try and save yourself some money. But I suggest book 3 because that's going to signal to all those. There are plenty of people. I put a book out, and by afternoon they're saying, "Where's the next one?" After. I mean, I'm very grateful. But
That
wow.
late? That late, really?
Did I get you?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So, Rain's going. Yes, ma'am.
If you're going to write in a related genre, so say from sci-fi to urban fantasy, or fantasy, science fiction to urban fantasy, do you recommend starting a new pen name or just using your regular name? Because Michael Anderley's like everywhere. But it's
Well, Michael Anderley is the outlier. Do not. He is a publishing company now, and she asked if you are doing more than one genre, should you have a pen name for the other ones? And because they also bots will get trashed.
If they're related, though, the genres.
Right. So I'm doing my backlist is thrillers. That's what I was in before I started, and I hate wasting it. And we're redoing it, but we're doing it under William Graves, because I thought Graves was funny for a thriller. And it's so that the also bots don't get trashed over in the urban fantasy side, but immediately when you open it, it says, yeah, it's me. So I'm not trying to hide it, I'm just trying to protect the also bots. And again, that's why you want to check, the also bots are very precious, and so you want to protect those. But if you're new or you're trying to build an audience and I would suggest one genre, because it's the pillars thing. Are you going to build one pillar or 2 pillars? And it's hard to build the one and to figure out who those readers are and put your precious money in that and time. 2, I would say 2 for when you have built such a big one, they'll test you out over here, and I'd still try and build a bridge between the 2. But if you really like urban fantasy and you really like mystery, the Lyric Chronicles is urban fantasy. The main character is a homicide detective. So there are ways to satisfy that creative urge without making life very difficult on yourself. Yes, ma'am?
2 questions. One, you said for like the 2 to 3 authors that you're targeting, and then you said to also target Kindle. I know on AMS has.
I mean, put the word in. Put the word Kindle in keywords.
No, they won't let you do that.
Okay, you're talking about like where you get your 7 on KDP keywords?
I don't even do that.
You can't do either way.
No.
Listen to her on that. Martelle is wrong. I run her AMS ads. I don't use Kindle.
Okay, so then that's good.
I thought all right.
They might have changed it since I was
Yeah.
Oh, and I didn't know if maybe that was for like Amazon.
They used to let you. Clearly, I haven't done it for myself in a while.
And then my other question is still release related, but a little bit different. Do you have any suggestions for like an audio? Do you do anything different there?
I do not, because I do that with Ellen BPN, and Steve Campbell does that, who gave the presentation yesterday. That's a great question to ask him at some point. But and that's a recognition that I cannot do it all. And so I farm out what I need to make sure I focus on my talents. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should be. So keep that in mind. So we're all go-getters. Yes, ma'am?
During your rapid release, you're mostly talking about e-books. How does print work into this whole plan?
Once the ebook is out and there's so how does paperback work into ebooks? The way I do it is I let the ebook come out first, get great reviews, and that becomes the back of the paperback, and then I introduce the paperback. But I focus, so limited amount of time, limited amount of focus. Ebooks is really where it's at. But there are fans who like the paperback. It does become its own giveaway because you can do it signed. You can even at some point do hardcover that is a really big deal giveaway. But I don't do it right away.
So when you say not right away, are you saying like 30 days down the road?
Or less.
Or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get like 3 days.
Yeah, well, yeah. It sometimes depends on how our week went too.
Yeah,
it could be a little longer before it. And if the ebook's really blowing up, we're going to focus on the ebook because the paperback is never going to be a big deal. It's really we're doing it for the fans. So it depends on how your week went. And if your ebook's blowing up, just focus there and do whatever you can to make it stick so that when you go to book 2, it's holding its ranking pretty well.
Okay.
We have about 3 or 4 minutes left. Yes, ma'am?
So you said you don't do a pre-order for book 1, but then you do that for book 2 and book 3?
I don't do pre-orders, but you're doing snippets after book 1, which keeps that pump run. But again, I have friends who are doing quite well, who do pre-order, they love it, so this is just me. But I'm trying to protect that ranking and get up as high as possible and make it stay.
But what about for like books and free?
I don't do it.
That like at the end, like it's ready and pre-order now.
No, I know Felicia's thinking we might try it for one.
Well, the thing is, it's
You gotta talk as loud as you can.
It's about timing with pre-orders. If you're rapid releasing and it's all ahead of time, it's not as important whether or not it's a pre-order because it's only a short period of time and it builds up some of that buzz. But if you have a long period of time, you have more. A pre-order is better for that because you have more prep time. But I mean, it really depends on your time because it does cut out on your production because you have to upload it, you know, a few days before, and there's a lot of stuff that you have to do. If you just want to release when you want to release, or if you procrastinate and don't finish the book.
Well, yeah, if you don't do it, Amazon will not let you do a pre-order for a year.
Right.
But again, I don't do pre-orders, hasn't hurt me at all. I do snippets, I do fan pricing, I stay in touch. I don't know that it's, you know, it depends on which route you want to go, but try it out. One last question right there.
So without doing pre-orders, how do you guarantee that the book uploads on the days you wanted it to upload?
Great question. So this is the Zen element of being an author. If you don't do pre-orders, how can you guarantee that when you upload it that it will come out on the day you said it will? And this is the Zen moment of publishing where it'll come out when it comes out. And you just let your fans know on your off, and it happens to me from, you know, about every third or fourth book. Amazon has not released it yet, but if you post here, I'll give you a mug. And you just keep the conversation going until they finally let it go. But there's a lot of, I'll just end with, there are a lot of Zen elements to this, where you gotta pick your battles. If you can't control it, don't worry about it. You're walking right in front of the live stream. If y'all can hold off walking up front just for a second. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it.